Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today my name is Usetale. In this channel I share tutorial videos on how to cut and sew, and today's tutorial video is going to be all about the making of this beautiful corset top with shoulder, armhole and a Basque waistline. In my previous video I shared with you guys how to go about the pattern drafting, and today we are going to be joining all the pieces together to make this beautiful blouse. Without wasting any time, let's get started. Registration for our online sewing classes for beginners is still in progress. We have 3 classes available: the total beginners class, the cupped corset class and the trouser master class. All our classes are designed to teach beginners a detailed step-by-step procedure on how to cut and sew. So if you're interested in any of our classes, all you need to do is to send us a WhatsApp message, and all the other informations on how to register for the class will be passed across to you. Thank you. So guys, these are all the patterns that we drafted out in the previous video. After we're done drafting the patterns, we went ahead to transfer all of them to the fabric. So if you missed that video, I'll be leaving the link to that video in the description box so that you can get to watch that video first before coming to watch this one. Now all these pieces are what I'm going to be joining together to make the beautiful corset blouse. I'll start by working on the front pieces. So to do that, I'm just going to start with the center front and the side front. Okay, so I'm going to remove my pattern paper, then I'll go ahead and separate the main fabric from the lining fabric. So I'll put the lining fabric aside because I'm going to start sewing the main fabric first. Now I'm going to open up the center front on the table like this, then I'm going to place the side on it just the way you see me do. Now you're going to place it together like this. You will go ahead and sew it down using 1/2 inch. After you are done doing that, you will do the same thing to this other side. Sew it down using 1/2 inch. And after you are done sewing, you're going to open up the seam flat and iron it, and this is what you're going to have after you are done doing that. Now the next thing we are going to do is we are going to work on the cup. So I'm going to bring the cup pieces. I'll place the front piece aside, then I'm going to work on the cup. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to mark out the bust line. So this line here, this second line is the bust line. So you're going to mark it on the piece, then you're going to go ahead and make a notch. So you will do the same thing to this other one. So go ahead and make a notch. Now after making the notches, you're going to remove your pattern paper. Okay, you are going to be keeping the pattern paper because we are going to use the pattern paper to cut on the pad later. Okay, now you're going to be joining the cup pieces together. So go ahead and place the lining fabric aside. You're going to open up the cup pieces on the table. You will place it in a way that the notches are going to be facing each other. Now you're going to place it together. You're going to start sewing from the end. So you sew from the end, make sure the notch match together, then you sew it all the way to the top. You're going to do the same thing to the other cup. After you are done sewing, you're going to make notches on it just the way you see me doing. Then you do the exact same thing to the other cup. So guys, after you are done making the notches, now we're going to iron it flat. You're going to bring your tailor's ham. You're going to open up the cup on it just like this. You will use your hand and open the seam flat. Then you will use your hot iron to iron it just the way you see me doing. So guys, after you are done ironing, you turn it to the right side and iron it as well. Then you do the same thing to the other cup. You can see this is what I have after I was done ironing the 2 cups. Now I'm going to place the cup pieces aside. I'll be cutting the pad. So I'll bring back the pattern papers of the cup. I'm going to be cutting out this part. So just place your curve ruler on it like this and use it and curve it out. So you're going to go ahead and cut out that part of the second cup because we don't need it. Now these 2 pieces is what I'm going to be using to cut on my pad. So you're going to place it on your pad like this. You can see I folded the pad into two, so make sure to fold it into two, then place piece 1 on it, and you also place piece 2 on it. You're going to pin it down just the way you see me doing. Then you're going to cut it following the pattern paper. You're not supposed to give it, allowance, so just cut following exactly what you have on the pattern paper. You can see what I'm doing. So guys, after you are done cutting it out, this is what you're going to have it looking like. So this is it guys. You're going to mark the bust line, so transfer the bust line to the pad. You will do the same thing here, so transfer the bust line to the pad as well. So the reason why I did not give it sewing allowance is because I'm going to be using my zigzag stitches to join it together. Okay, so a situation whereby you don't have zigzag stitches, you are going to be giving it half-inch sewing allowance here and also to the second cup, so that you can place it together like this and you will use the half-inch to sew it down. But because I have zigzag stitches and that is what I'm going to be using to join it, that is why I didn't give it any sewing allowance. Now go ahead and place the pattern paper aside. You're going to separate them, so this and this will go together and this is going to go together. So this is how it is supposed to be. Now I'm going to take it to the sewing machine. I'm going to use my zigzag stitch to join it together. I'll do the same thing to the other cup. So this is what you're going to have after you are done doing that. Can you see? Now I am going to be ironing the pad to my cup fabric. So you're going to determine the part that has gum. So there's normally a part that has gum and it's normally shiny. You're going to place that part to be facing your fabric. Can you see what I did? The part that has gum will be facing your fabric. Then you will do the same thing to this other one. Now you're going to iron it. You're going to bring your tailor's ham. Then you will make sure to arrange it so that it wouldn't move while you're ironing. So just arrange it and go ahead and pin it down just the way you see me doing. So after you are done pinning it down like this guys, you're going to place it on top of your tailor's ham just like this. Then you're going to use your hot iron to iron it out very well. So you have to take your time to do this so that it will gum to your fabric. So guys, just go ahead and iron it out. So it was very hot as I was ironing it, so I decided to place a fabric on top of it so that it wouldn't burn my fabric. Okay, so this is what I had. This is what you're going to have after you are done ironing. You're going to do the exact same thing to the other cup, and after ironing the two cups, this is what I have it to be looking like. You can see I realized that the pad was not thick enough. You can see it was not thick enough and I wanted it to be a bit thicker. I decided to create another cup using my pad. Now I'm going to be doubling it. So I'm just going to place the part that has gum to be facing my fabric just like this. Then I will do the exact same thing to the other cup. Then I will use my hot iron to iron it out very well. So this is totally optional. You can choose not to double your pad, but I decided to double mine because after placing the first pad on it, it wasn't really thick the way I wanted it. And you can see I had to use my hemming gum to gum it because the gum was not really gumming together. The gum from the pad was not gumming together. So after I was done gumming it with my hemming gum, you can see now it is thick the way I like it. So this is it guys. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be joining the cups to the front piece. But before I do that, I'm going to bring my cutting bias. I'm going to be sewing cutting bias to the middle of my fabric just like this. So place it on the middle of your fabric like this, then go ahead and pin it down. So after you're done pinning it down, you're going to cut it. You place another one on the dart line, so the place where you join the side to the center front, which is the dart line, you're going to place cutting bias on it and pin it down as well. Then you will do the same thing to this other side. Now these cutting bias are where we are going to be putting our boning. So these cutting bias are the boning channels. So after you are done placing it on it, you will take it to the sewing machine. You will sew the end here and also this end here. You will do the same thing to all the other ones. So after doing that, you can also decide to design your cup. You can choose to use cutting bias to design your cup, but for my case, I'm not going to be doing that. So after I was done sewing cutting bias to the front piece, this is what I had it to be looking like. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be joining the cups to it, and to do that I'm going to pin the cup to the fabric. So just place it on it like this, then you're going to go ahead and pin it down with your pin. So guys, so just go ahead and pin it from one end all the way to the other end. If you cut your fabric to be, the correct way, your cup is not supposed to be bigger than your fabric, neither is your fabric supposed to be bigger than your cup. It is supposed to be exactly the same thing. So just go ahead and arrange it just the way you see me doing, then you're going to pin it down all the way to the other end. So guys, after you are done pinning down your cup to your fabric, you're going to take it to your sewing machine and sew. Then you will sew the cup to the other side as well. After you are done sewing, you're going to make notches on it just the way you see me doing. So go ahead and make notches on it. Then after you are done making notches on it, you are going to top stitch it. So I went ahead to top stitch my own. You can choose not to top stitch yours, but I did top stitch my own. You can see I top stitch it, and you can see the top stitch line. So that is what you're going to have it looking like. So from this front, this is it. So top stitching it will actually make it to look very, very flat. So I advise you to top stitch yours. So this is what you're going to have it looking like. Now the next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to be joining the back pieces to it. To do that, I'm going to place the front piece aside, then I'll bring the back pieces. You're going to go ahead and remove your pattern paper, but before you remove your pattern paper, you're going to mark out the zipper allowance. So just use your chalk to transfer the zipper allowance line to your fabric. Then after transferring the lines, you are going to make notches on the points just the way you see me doing. So after you are done doing that, now you're going to place it aside. Now you will remove the pattern paper of the other back piece. Now we are going to be joining the main fabric of the back pieces together. So go ahead and place the lining fabrics aside. So to do that, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the back piece on the table like this. Then you're going to place the other part on it like this. Make sure that the zipper allowance line is at the middle. Can you see? Now you're going to be joining it together. So place it together like this. Then you're going to join it down. You will do the same thing to the other piece as well. So just go ahead and join it. So after you are done joining, you're going to iron the seam flat. You can see I ironed the seam flat, and this is what you're going to have it looking like. Now the next thing we are going to do is I'm going to be joining these back pieces to the front piece. But before I do that, I'm going to carve out the shape. You know that the front piece has a V shape, which is the Basque waistline effect. So just place your fabric together like this to cut out that shape. So you're going to pin your fabric together so that it wouldn't move while you are cutting it. So go ahead and pin it together just the way you see me doing. After you are done pinning, now from the waistline here, so from where that curve came out is the waistline. So you're going to place your straight ruler from that waistline, then you will just curve it out just like this. Can you see what I'm doing? I decided to switch to a red chalk because the yellow chalk was not showing. You can see the line. Now you're going to go ahead and cut it out with your scissors. So guys, after you are done cutting, remove your pin. When you open it up, this is what you're going to have it looking like. You can see the V shape at the end that gives it that Basque waistline effect. You see how it is. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to join the back pieces to it. You're going to place the back pieces on the two sides just like this. Then you're going to place it together like this. Then you will pin it down with your pin. So we are going to be taking our body measurement before we go ahead to join. Now place this other one on it and go ahead and pin it down with your pin. So guys, after you are done doing that, now we are going to take the round body measurement. So at the top here, you're going to take your round bust measurement divided by 2. So just go ahead and measure like this. Any excess that you're going to have remaining, you're going to share it at the two ends which is going to be for your measurement. So what I had remaining was about 3 inches, so I marked 1.5 at that end. Now I'm going to be marking 1.5 here as well. Then at the waistline, you're going to take your round waist measurement divided by 2. So what I have remaining is about 3 inches as well. I will mark 1.5 here, and here I will also mark 1.5. Now I'm going to be connecting it with my straight ruler, you can see. Then you do the same thing to this other side. Then you take it to your sewing machine, then you will sew it down. So guys, after I was done sewing, I cut out of the seam allowance and I iron it flat, and this is what you're going to have it looking like, you can see. So this is it guys. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be trimming out these excesses that I have at the back. So just go ahead and place your fabric together. You can see the back is longer than what it is supposed to be. You're just going to use your straight ruler to cut out the excess that you have there. So just go ahead and cut it out, and after you are done cutting, you're going to mark the zipper allowance line and you make a notch. So guys, this is what you're going to have it to be looking like after you are done cutting out the excesses. So I decided to place it on my body for fitting to be sure that it fits, and I realized that at this side of the armhole of the front, it was popping out a little bit. So in order to solve that problem, I'm going to be sewing a little bit of that here. Then I will do the same thing to this other side. I will sew a little bit of that. As for the back area, the back was totally perfect, so the problem was only at the front. So I'm going to be sewing the darts now to rectify that problem. You can see I have sewn that to it, and I did the same thing here. It's just a little dart, it's not supposed to be too big. Now with this, it was no longer popping out when I checked it. So if you check yours on your body and you see that it is popping out, you should do the same thing. So after that, I went ahead to sew the lining fabric just exactly the same way that I sewed the main fabric. You can see I also make the dart on it. So anything you do to your main fabric is what you should do to your lining fabric. So this is what I have. Now I'm going to be joining the lining fabric to the main fabric. To do that, you're going to place your main fabric on the table just like this. Then you will place your lining fabric on it, the right sides facing each other. You're going to go ahead and pin it down. So just make sure to arrange it very well, make sure every part is aligning. Then you're going to use your pin to pin it down. So you pin it all the way to the other end. Make sure it aligns well before you go ahead to pin it down. So guys, after I was done pinning it down, you can see now I'm going to take it to the sewing machine. I will sew the neckline of the back, I will sew the armhole like this, I will sew the neckline of the front just like this, I sew this other armhole, then I sew the neckline of the back as well. You are not going to be sewing the shoulders, okay? You're going to go ahead and sew the other parts that I demonstrated except the shoulder. After I was done sewing, now I'm going to make notches. So just go ahead and make notches on it just the way you see me doing. So guys, after you are done making notches, you're going to go ahead and flip it out to the right side. You can see you're going to be flipping it out from the shoulder. That is why I told you guys that you are not supposed to sew the shoulder. So go ahead and flip it out to the right side through the shoulder. So guys, after you are done flipping out your fabric to the right side, this is what you're going to have it looking like. Now the next thing you're going to do is you're going to use your hot iron to iron it out very well. After I was done ironing, this is what I had. Can you see how flat it is looking like? It's looking so pretty already. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be putting the boning through the boning channels. So this is the boning that I'm going to be using. You're going to measure your boning. You will reduce the length of what you have by 1 inch. Then you're going to go ahead and trim the mouth. So you're going to trim the mouth so that it will not be popping out of your fabric. After you are done trimming the mouth, you're going to put it inside of your boning channel. You can see. Now you do the same thing here, measure what you have, reduce it by 1 inch, then go ahead and trim out the mouth and put it inside. So you do the same thing to the last one, measure what you have, reduce it by 1 inch, trim out the mouth and put it inside. So guys, after you are done putting the boning inside, you're going to see that it will be looking funny. It will no longer be flat. All you need to do is to just use your hot iron to iron it out very well, then it will become flat. Now after I was done ironing, you can see how flat it is now. The next thing I'm going to do is I'll flip my fabric to the wrong side, just like this. I'm going to be sewing the bottom. You're going to go ahead and pin it together like this. Then you will pin it all the way to the other end. So just place the fabric and the lining together and pin it down. Then after you are done pinning, you will take it to the sewing machine and you're just going to join it together just like this. After joining, you're going to make notches on it. So go ahead and make notches on it just like this. Then you will flip it out to the right side. Now after you are done flipping out to the right side, you're going to iron it out very well. So this is what I had after I was done ironing. You can see how flat it is looking now. From the back, it looks so flat, and you're going to have it looking like this. Now the next thing we are going to do is to join the shoulders. So place it together and take it to your sewing machine and join it. Then after joining, you're going to weave the mount so that it doesn't fray. So this is what I had after I was done joining the shoulders. You can see I also weaved the mount just as I said. Then after I was done doing that, I also went ahead to weave the zipper allowance area. You can see this part, I weave it with my overlock machine so that it doesn't fray as well, and I fold out the zipper allowance. Now I'm going to go ahead to attach my zipper to the back. So I'm going to bring my zipper. So this is the zipper that I'm going to be making use of. I'm going to start sewing from the end here, then I'll sew it all the way to the top, then I'll cut out all the excesses and finish it up. This is what you're going to have after you are done fixing the zipper. You can easily open it up like this, then you close it back. So guys, this is it for the making of this beautiful corset top. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section. If you enjoy watching this video, don't forget to subscribe, like and share.